next game in the SEC that we got is number 4 Alabama at South Carolina, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. The storylines to know is Alabama's redemption tour continues. So if you take out the season opening loss to Florida State, Alabama has the best resume, I would say, in college football right now, because they've won their last 6 games, and their last 4 wins have come over top 20 opponents in number 5 Georgia, number 16 Vanderbilt, number 14 Missouri, and number 11 Tennessee. And all 4 of those teams are still ranked in the top 20 right now. And Georgia and Vanderbilt, as you just saw, are both ranked in the top 10 right now, even after losing to Alabama. Alabama finally plays an unranked team this week in South Carolina before taking on another couple ranked teams in number 20 LSU and number 13 Oklahoma. But the Crimson Tide cannot afford to overlook this game in Columbia, South Carolina, because the Gamecocks are still a very talented team who is desperate for a victory right now after losing 4 of their last 5 games.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been tough. And South Carolina right now, with their remaining schedule, including this game, they're borderline to make a bowl game right now. They need to really earn that, and they've struggled, especially offensively. But you're right on Alabama. They've gotten red hot now. The offense is running at a torrid pace. The defense is, I think, getting better each week. There's some new pieces being added into it, some guys playing better than they did earlier in the year. And you mentioned it, 4 extremely tough opponents in a row. I don't know if there's very many other teams in the country capable of going 4-0 against a Georgia, Vandy, Missouri, Tennessee. That's a ridiculous slate that they've gotten through. And then with 2 more ranked games coming, the one thing you worry about is don't fall asleep on this game either now. I mean, South Carolina still have enough talent. They still have Lenora Sellers to go out here and beat you. It's the SEC. This is why it's the gauntlet. But no, Alabama's been raging hot lately, and South Carolina, they got to find some points. That's going to be a big thing here.
You have the Alabama offense with one of the top Heisman candidates leading it in Ty Simpson right now. What should we know for him against South Carolina?
At this point, with the sample that we have of Ty Simpson as a starter, if you're going to play against this Alabama team, you better be sound and ready to defend over the middle of the field. I was looking at some stats because it's something that's jumped out to me over the last few weeks. It's just how pinpoint surgical he is throwing down the middle of the field, Max. When you look at the middle third of the field, Ty Simpson attacking, throw it into 18-yard segments. Look at that one in the middle, right over the hash marks, basically. 92.9 passing grade, tied with Ohio State's Julian Sayin for 3rd best in the country. 9.9 yards per attempt, 90.6% adjusted completion rate. His surface level numbers would look a whole lot better without about a half dozen drops. That would have been big plays. You remember the Ryan Williams one against Georgia early in the game? About a half dozen like that his surface level numbers over the middle could look a lot better, but that's why we have the grades, is to grade the throws and the process of what happens there. 7 passing touchdowns over the middle third of the field. South Carolina, first of all, their safeties, guys like Jalen Kilgore and DQ Smith, they need to be ready to roll early in this game because this is where Ty Simpson's going to attack. And I would honestly say right now, the biggest weakness for South Carolina in coverage, solid defense, not as good as last year, but still solid in coverage in the secondary, their linebackers. I like the way their linebackers have defended the run this year, but these are guys you can attack in coverage, and you worry about that matchup against Ty Simpson, against Jeremy Bernard, especially against Ryan Williams. If he's hot now after the performance he had last week, they really got Ryan Williams back involved. So I think that's a big thing you look out for in any game right now with Ty Simpson, is his ability to throw down the middle of the field. That's where a lot of Alabama's big plays are coming from.
Yeah, for South Carolina, I'm looking at their offensive line against Alabama's pass rush in this game, which is kind of really weakness on weakness right now for both of these programs. The Gamecocks right now are 105th in team pass blocking grade. Dalton, they have the 2nd worst pressure rate allowed in America at about 43% this year. This offensive line is not doing a good job at all of protecting Lenora Sellers this year. Meanwhile, Alabama is 121st in the country in team pass rush grade with a 63.4 grade on the season. I will say they did a little bit better this past weekend against Tennessee with Yonze Pierre really breaking out against the Volunteers in that game. Also, even aside from simply getting to Lenora Sellers in this game, Alabama needs to make sure it rushes with lane integrity in this one too, to make sure he stays in the pocket, because Lenora Sellers has 28 forced missed tackles on the year. That's the most among all Power 4 quarterbacks. But when you keep Lenora Sellers in the pocket, He has a 69.3 PFF grade. That is 91st among all quarterbacks in the country. If you let him break that pocket and break contain and make plays with his legs, he could beat you, and they could pull off a colossal upset. But if you keep him within the pocket, that is the avenue for Alabama's defense to outright dominate South Carolina in this game.
Absolutely. And look, we've talked for a long time about Alabama and their struggles with mobile quarterbacks. So you mentioned it, with Sellers, it is not just about getting pressure. It is doing what Oklahoma did last week and getting sacks and finishing with negative plays. And that's been an issue. Look, you look at Alabama this year, mobile quarterbacks, Thomas Castellanos, right? 80 rushing yards. Bo Prabula, 69 rushing yards. Diego Pavia, obviously, he can do what he does, and that was a closer game than the score would indicate there. I mean, and the run of mobile quarterbacks they've had to play. Pavia had 68 rushing yards in that game, so it's been a thing for a long time. It's really been the kryptonite of this defense is containing mobile quarterbacks, and Sellers is as good as they come as a runner. Got to keep him in the pocket first, but I think you're right to mention Pierre. 15 pressures over the last 3 games, 2 sacks against Tennessee. He was really good as a pass rusher last week. So I think that element of having someone else other than LT Overton, that's big time. And then to see what Alabama's plan is for Sellers, because if you let him outside those hash marks, now you have a problem, right? And that's really been Alabama's kryptonite for a year and a half.
And also, I mean, like I said before, if you keep him within the pocket, South Carolina supporting cast, I mean, we're borderline Oklahoma last year, where it's like, dude, they have nothing. Offensive line, wide receivers, running backs. It is a horrendous supporting cast for South Carolina and Lenora Sellers right now. So if you keep him within the pocket, needs to win as a drop-back passer, Alabama's secondary, which has so much talent on it right now, they have a clear advantage over South Carolina's receivers right now.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's Alabama's defense has a lot of advantages, but the one that they don't have is Lenora Sellers. Now, that goes for a lot of defenses, right? Playing against South Carolina is that's priority number one. Keep him in the pocket. But as a whole, South Carolina is 117th in offensive grade, right? It's their offense right now is Sellers, save us.
Yep.
And against great teams, that doesn't work. So they need to play better up front. They need to get the more traditional run game going with Rasul Faison, with Oscar Attaway if they're going to have a shot to control this game. Because, again, look, if you walk out there first drive and go 3 and out, Ty Simpson's raging hot. He's probably a top 5 quarterback in college football right now. Yep. So you don't want to just give him as many shots at it. They need to run the ball. They need to get Sellers going. In Alabama, if they lose contain on Sellers on the passing downs, then that's when they start to run into, okay, this guy, he can still turn a game upside down. It's in there. Yep. We know it's in there. It's just that he hasn't had the supporting cast this year.
No, Ty Simpson right now is second in Heisman odds right now behind Fernando Mendoza of Indiana, and according to DraftKings Sportsbook. If South Carolina is going to win this game, they need a Heisman level performance from Lenore Sellers to win this kind of game. Ultimately, Dalton, will the Gamecocks get that and pull off a colossal upset, or will Alabama once again take care of business?
I just think South Carolina has shown us in almost all of their games this year that they can't score, right? And I think, look, Sellers is a problem. The run game could be an issue early. I'm sure that offensively they have a plan for, okay, we attacked Alabama like this last year, and Sellers got a lot of rushing yards last year in Alabama. It's been a problem for them. That's going to be priority number one. But I feel like if they do find a way to contain Sellers to a reasonable number, say 60 or 70 yards like they've been doing to these other mobile quarterbacks, then there's not a whole lot of other answers from the Gamecocks. The run game with the backs hasn't been that efficient. The receivers are not getting open. You mentioned that offensive line. That's really their biggest weakness right now. They got dominated against Oklahoma. Last week, I've got Alabama 31-16. I just think South Carolina, the whole offensive operation is just not there to beat a team like this.
Yeah, I have Alabama winning this game as well, 34-17, pretty easily over South Carolina. I think Ty Simpson should find plenty of success against what's been so far below average South Carolina secondary, and also I think the Crimson Tide just really find little trouble defending what's been a South Carolina offense that is so reliant on Lenora Sellers right now to be their hero. There's not much else on that offense to really be scared of right now. I think Alabama's defense will have a lot of success in this game against South Carolina. So I have a 34-17 Alabama taking care of business, but once again over the Gamecocks. All right,